Yeah, I think such a dialogue is truly, it seemed to me, is very productive and very complementary to our bilateral relations, given some sort of, we say, very heavy AIs remain covering, the bilateral relations, particularly given the falling short of some sort of significant mill-mill relations. So our channel could not just rounding up very excellent people from each country, but we can put them into a very honestly, firmly, some sort of in-person contact. So such a contact not just happening through our channel between the two military people, but also we have a very good composition of the delegations from either side. Military people, international maritime lawyer, and security expert. Such a composition is truly enabled us to have a very thoughtful, candid, and of course a very, we say, proactive, discussion of issues and concerns. On the other hand, we will see China-Japan relations as always some sort of, we say, very emotional factors for the both sides. But one of the leading characters of our, the channel of our dialogue is we attempt to be less emotional and more, we say, professional. So then, whenever just how say mod in any some sort of such a political exchange of the files, we also hate just how say like complaining a lot to each other. So then, our dialogue goes very professional and technical. I think it's not just a very useful window, but it's also very meaningful channel to carry on the thoughts and the views from both sides. Yes, in the past 1.5 years, we picked up a lot of issues and just dig very deeper among them. So then our discussion covered, for example, how the military jet fighters could keep the safety distance in the air, whatever they posture themselves. We consider such a safety distance is key. Elements should be always being, in mind for both pilots. So then such a, we say, safety distance and how they can measure it and measurable, we say, it's also on a very intense discussion. Then we also, for example, exploring some sort of, we say, in-air communication system. What kind of the channel should be open, in what language, some sort of a message could be deliverable and receivable on either side. Then we're also very seriously looking at, for example, such a male-male relations, and the hotline should be set, not just in the air pilots, but also should be, just done between the two, the militaries. So whatever happens, then just on a very primary time, either of us could know so who could be reasonably and also could be very adequately just reached out. So then all such a things, I think it's very seriously on the discussion. Then it signal some sort of very primary, the attempt from both sides on risk on the cutting and crisis management. So far, we will still walking through the way because it's a second round of dialogue. Then we will have coming third round and the fourth round before we can firing at a full report. But anyway, I have to say, so far the trend is well off. Then the tone is unbelievably positive. Yes, I think it's a very challenging question. First of all, we should have some sort of appointment, should have some sort of fixed, the agreement on both sides. What kind of, for example, so we say wireless channel could be open for the both pilots in air, just reach out to their counterparts. So it will be some sort of, we say, a very accurate, design setting. For example, we should fix some sort of a channel and get them open for the in-air communication. The second one is also very clear-cut. For example, in what language Chinese pilots and Japanese pilots, they can communicate: English, Japanese, Chinese, or Cantonese. But whatever it is, we really would like to see both pilots could also have some sort of agreement on essential language, the training. It's also very undeniable part. Then the third one is in-air communication is not just through some sort of, we say, radio or just wireless. The most important, the gesture of the jets, the plane, usually is also commonly identified because we can refer into a number of the international convention on civilian aviation safety and security. We can use this, the International Aviation Convention driven such a flying gesture as some sort of a very commonly identifying signal. Then it also could be easily received in the air. So all such things we need to lay out at the table and make the both military and both government to examine. So our work is just not just to pick up something. We should also get them well weighed, well discussed, and well balanced, and make them easy to fit on both sides. Yeah, to be some sort of 0.2 or 1.5 track dialogue. First of all, we will still got very happily and very pleasantly get the support and help from the both governments. So then we have a good channel to discuss with either government, because our work is not just completely personal. We are just an independent social force reflecting some sort of such a goodwill-based efforts from either side for better relations. So of course our the work got the support from the government. The second is, after the reports, we will continue to examine very carefully some sort of the outcome of a dialogue and make them just very acceptable to the both sides, because we need some sort of consensus. We need some sort of consent to drive the upcoming, our work. So then we will get the messages just well received on either side's government, because it's very important, for example, how the government could be favorable to us continuously. I think it also has a lot to do with the relevance of our efforts. So then, yes, we will keep contacting the both government and get our message well received. But it's just one part of a story. The other part of a story is it's just some sort of, we say, track 2 dialogue. So we don't want to completely depend on the government views or government's instruction. So to be a serious scholar, I think that both Han Yusan and me, we also highly appreciate some sort of creature or some sort of relative independence, and or some sort of original, the thoughts and judgment. So then, on the one hand, we were working with the government, but on the other hand, we should also always projecting our own thoughts and views. Yeah, I think the Sasakawa Foundation is a great, the non-profitable, funding source. But Sasakawa Foundation is not just stopping over there. Sasakawa Foundation has strong dimension of research, strong dimension of charity or something like that. So that's why I think the admiration to the Sasakawa Foundation is, it is real, genuine social force. And it can play a very important role as one creative part of the civil society. So that's why every time coming and working together with Sasakawa Foundation, it's always very pleasing for me.